In September of 1906, there was a riot in downtown Atlanta known as the Atlanta Race Riot. This riot lasted 2 days in which thousands of white men and boys gathered in downtown Atlanta and attacked black men and women.
During the New South era, the population of black people in Atlanta increased drastically during the 1880s and 90s.
During the 1906 governor's race, Hoke Smith further provoked the racial tensions in the city by running a platform of black disenfranchisement.
There was increased job competition and racial tensions because blacks were given more rights. This led the white leaders of the city to expand Jim Crow segregation laws. The separation of whites and blacks in public places and even neighborhoods continued.
Some blacks were able to acquire wealth and the others distanced themselves from those who were successful. Many unemployed black men were often seen at the saloons on Decatur Street, which were said to be decorated with photos of nude women. White people were uncomfortable with this all and blamed black men who went to saloons for the rising crime rate. They especially blamed them for the threat of sexual violence against white women. The newspapers wrote reports of 4 separate alleged assaults on white women by black men, and that's when the violence started.
On September 22nd, thousands of white men crowded the streets of downtown Atlanta. The leader of the city tried to calm them down but ultimately failed. By evening, they had gone down many streets, assaulting hundreds of black men. They assaulted black-owned businesses. At least 3 black men were beaten to death. Around midnight, the state militia was called. However, the mob did not stop. It wasn't until around 2 a.m. when it started raining and Atlanta was under control of the state militia.
The next day, Sunday, September 23rd, newspapers had reported that the militia had been able to control the mob. It was also reported that black people had been scared off the public streets. Despite the heavy presence of the militia in the city of Atlanta, vigilante groups still managed to attack black neighborhoods. Meanwhile, black men secretly gathered weapons for defense against the mob. On Monday, September 24th, there was a meeting held in Brownsville by heavily armed black men. The Fulton County Police eventually got word about this meeting being held in Brownsville and proceeded to raid it. A shootout started and an officer was killed. 3 heavily armed militias arrived and arrested more than 250 black men. Fighting continued throughout the rest of the day.
The riot was put to a stop by city officials because it was hurting Atlanta's image. The incident had been reported all throughout the U.S. and even internationally. There is an estimate that 25 to 40 black people died as a result of this event. Most reported that only 2 white people died.
1 out of the 2 white people that died during this event, known as the Atlanta Race Riot of 1906, was a white woman who suffered a heart attack after seeing a mob outside her home. Out of the fear that the fighting would continue, white leaders decided to speak with black elites. Because of this unexpected and rare move, many northern white people believed that race relations could improve without the help of the nation. However, this interaction actually worsened the black society. Black elites tried to move away from the lower class and their interests, causing Atlanta to be one of the most segregated cities in the nation.
Afterwards, there was a depression in Atlanta's black community and economy. Although it left an effect, it is often ignored by the white community and the official history of the city.